It's Thursday. It's March 24th, March 21st, 2024. I'm inside the United States of America with a Federal Reserve note, a monetary system, and in God we trust, and an ONE. Um, there's also in this system the White House and Jackson. Um, I made some I took some snapshots. Like I'm trying to follow along with what the commercial is doing, and what the trendy kids are doing. Because like my whole life, I tried to stay away from the TV, not really knowing its abundance or importance at all. Um, and now with sunlight at this level, um, so I'm just trying to do like a what's what, since I haven't had access to heraldry or genealogy or any kind of lineage or anything family oriented. I have my mother and my father, that's about it. So and then when I wanted to get on ancestry.com, for some reason there was a problem there. I don't know what that was about. So anyhow, so, but I'm in County Queens, which I've been chronicling the local paper and the property guide. We're in a 26 letter alphabet system. That's 26 lower cases, 26 upper cases. There's been some script that is entered into County Queens before I was moved back here. I don't know when it arrived, when it started appearing in the public, but it's a problem that needs to be shut down. We are a 26 letter alphabet. That's it. So, um, but there's a lot of like, I guess, social influencers that are changing things, and I don't know who they're permitted to change these things in the local area by. I tried to join the National Guard with the Army, but there was a representative that was presented. I asked for an intelligence position, and there was a person presented that when I go, like, I mean, again, I'm RH sensitive, so like in a GOD to an ONE to a TWO inconsistent loop, it does not look familial. So I just made a documentation of it, and I don't know what else to do with that. But it's been like radio static silence in the area. Just trying to keep to myself and figure out what's going on. I mean, this is what they consider Irish. This is the St. Patrick's Day parade. It's like the authority in New York, St. Patrick's Day, and this what's called Emerald Society, on what's going on with like the things I don't have access to. These are some of the community that exists here. My grandmother had come over, and so I don't know what's happened or how to participate socially with any of this since I've been here. There's not this great connection. I don't know what happened. So I'm watching that, knowing that this is what ministry looks like for New York City inside of like a societal of GOD to ONE to TWO. Because when I watched the parade this year, they have something called a Fighting 69th, which I don't know what that is. But they no longer look Irish at all, not at this standard. They, this year, for some reason, when they were coming in, looked like someone else's family. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that's a sign, I mean, for signaling. Is that an upcoming national security concern that I need to be aware of? Because there's no communication from I mean, like, again, I've got a special situation here in Queens where the US Army representative looks like he's conflict of interest, perhaps. I don't even know the right words to use. Um, so there's that. Then I went and there's a US, just so I have on News Nation, with something called a Nicole Barely, this person. They have on a US Admiral, so I want to make sure. I mean, like, he looks family correct. And there he is. And it just says US, some story about a foreign territory. But I mean, he's wearing the symbol. So, and I don't know anybody who wears that symbol at the moment. So that's curious. I'm going to pause this for a second, and then I'm going to go to the it just feels like the national standards changed, or like the national standard with numbers has changed, and I'm really concerned security wise. Um, and I don't know where the safe way to go to speak to or on. So I'm going to pause this for a second, because then on the C, so there's this, and then what, like, where my interests are in, like, where would I like to be scientifically. I mean, I would have loved a career in academia and staying that track, but that wasn't even offered to me. um I don't know what's been running the academic, like, circuit. I don't know if that's part of the problem. I mean, in a large equation, it would be part of the problem, but whose formula is it, is where I'm really not sure. So with the sun being at this length, there was something that just came on at 4 o'clock yesterday. Lee Goldberg made the announcement on Channel 7 with a NASA image, NASA, for that North American security apparatus, although that's the space admin. And this is what this looked like.
Sometime between now and September, the night sky will light up from a new star being born in the Milky Way. This once in a lifetime event is called a nova. It happens.
And it's bubbling in some kind of a ring. And again, that's a conversation at some level, at it like an NASA level. But that, when I look at this, if that's a way to explain it without using words, just visual picture, again, in the whatever, but of utmost importance. And it says new star forming. So I'm going to pause this for a second, and then I'm going to go to the See the BS, because they're doing something with brackets, brackets, and March Madness. And I'm like, all right, so if, I mean, all the sports seem to be so commingled. Like, if their bodies participating each represented a dollar or whatever, like, it looks like commingling of funds. And again, I don't know. The church yesterday mentioned something about Mosaic law. I don't know Mosaic law, so I'm not going to comment on it. But they're commingling on a basketball court. And I don't really know what that, in the grand scheme and the grand formalities, I don't know what that translates out to, but it's of utmost concern because it used to be a court of all familial looking inside. Like, is that central bank, central intelligence? Is that um, central bank, central whatever? Um, for the monetary system. And now all of a sudden it's presenting like a commingled and like a field of conflict of interest. And the participants are wearing their birthday suits just up and down the court system. And I am noticing this turnover. And it feels like it almost happened like overnight. And I mean, again, I don't watch sports, I don't pay attention to sports, and I certainly now have no whatever in it. I wasn't like, I was physical fitness for presidential whatever, but I wasn't like the track of, I don't know if they were waiting and holding me back for space exploration, but the track of physical fitness, while I absolutely would have loved it had I had the right companion and partner, I would have actively sought that. And my life would look totally different, but I wasn't offered that hand in marriage. Instead, it's led me to wherever I am at the moment doing whatever this is. So I'm going to pause this for a second and pull up the See the BS just to take a look, almost like a sample of this basketball, like what's participating in it, because it no longer, and I don't know who's in charge of that sport or that sports league, it's NBA, but it no longer looks like the original, like when it was funded and it was branded and it was started. It now looks like a commingled and a conflict of interest, perhaps. Before I go to basketball, I'm going to, so this is where the new star formation, but I'm going to put up the map for where I am, that I'm noticing these things, the discovery of it. So this is the city, and I'm in County Queens, just inside the city limits, I suppose, and that's what I'm noticing. But this is the city. This is ABC, and then it goes to the map of the country and the territory for which this is within that North American area.
Wind as well. 37 degrees and looks beautiful, but it does not feel pleasant.
So again, this is the 48. When I do 1.48, here we are, and then there's 1.50. But that's what this looks like, which has this and others. So I'm going to pause this for a second, and then I'm going to go to, and this is the NOAA Spring Outlook. I'm going to go over to the CBS and this basketball thing, which I'm noticing. I've been taking a lot of photographs of, like the drug therapy commercials, because I'm noticing they're no longer representing like typical New York. The sports court is no longer looking typical New York. And I'm like, what happened to all of the Irish descendants and like something that looks familial? And why did all of the communications just crap out? Why is there no like active, my entire life, like no active national security conversation, how to participate, how to stay safe, how to find companionship and society, like all of that's, and while I notated the representative for this local area that's claiming something, and I don't know what, and I don't know how to verse it. So here, this is like large sports betting, and this is CBS. They have their contracted person.
Welcome back to CBS Mornings. The time is 7:30, but you know what else it's time for? Time to fill out them brackets because March Madness is finally here. 16 men's games tip off today, and one thing for sure, there will be a lot of chaos and no doubt some upsets. UConn.
Now, this is channel 2. It's like the rabbit ears, which I thought a monetary system were supposed to be like the sacred set of channels, but again, I don't have anybody to speak to on this at the moment. So how it got converted and this was put into the formula of however the humans and commingling and conflict of interest and what the professionals at the whatever do. I'm just making a note of it while this scientific discovery is going on. Of I don't exactly have words for this either, but this is like super serious.
Houston, Purdue, and North Carolina round out the top men's seeds, but they have to get through 60 other teams to get there. CBS Saturday Morning co-anchor and March Madness sideline reporter, that's a great Dana Jacobson, has some of the intriguing storylines to watch as the madness gets underway. Can they do?
So now, here's some of the players. I mean, on the basketball court, if it has any significance for anything future related, I feel very underrepresented.
Do it again. The pressure is on for top-seeded UConn, with the Huskies hoping to end a 17-year men's basketball repeat drought.
We ain't done. Stetson wins the ASUN championship.
Stetson is first on deck.
And this, whatever the sports contract is, and amount of children in the garden, let's call it, there's an abundance of that now, it seems, in New York City as well. So I don't know, like, how or when. I even noticed, like, NYPD and their recruiting efforts there's been a changeover, a lot less. I mean, it used to be that like New York City was made up of all Irish, like they all called themselves Irish, no matter where they really were from. There was some whatever and the whatever, but they were cops and firemen. And I don't know when that started to transition to not so much, but the numbers seem to be down, which is concerning for me. And I don't know, like, how to voice that carefully and respectfully, but at the same time having scientific concerns, and again, wanting to be in academia, but now at this point, there's been some health issues and health challenges. I don't even know if I'm up to that at the moment. I mean, like, again, it's like being able to walk in the forest and see the trees and comment on the trees. And then there's like the real serious, like, foliage experts and arborvitae experts. So again, I'm careful with how I phrase things. It's star 1978, star 8378. I also, in this area, while I've been here, there's, my father's had this, like, almost stickiness in his blood that I can hear when I do a blood pressure on him. I don't know the medical terms for it, and I'm not getting in a fight with the children from elsewhere. And I don't know how to find the children from here that I can respectfully have a conversation and actually have somebody who cares and advocates for health. So there's that. Then there is this in the milk, I noticed, and I'm having some recall issues. Like, it's just like a slow, it feels like an AOL dial up conversation as opposed to like a digitally, like I used to be real fast, but now I just feel so slow. So, anyhow, so the milk, um, it, when it's microwaved, it has a smell to it like plastic burning. That's something that's more recent. I don't remember it having this plasticky smell to it, but it's supposedly cow's milk in a gallon sold at Stop and Shop. And when I put it in the microwave, now, like real milk, like sometimes forms a film at the top of it, or it can, the fat, they call it the fat layer. Um, but this particular milk, after it smells like burning plastic, and if I put it into the coffee, if I go back after it cools ever so slightly on in a glass, like a beaker, but a glass measuring cup meant for the microwave, it will start to film, like it'll leave a film, a coagulated film, very sticky. I have to use an emulsifier detergent in order to like break it up in the washing it process, dishwashing process. Um, but it sticks and adheres. So there's some chemical process there, which I don't know how that's affecting physiology. I'm I've heard these things called amyloid proteins. I've heard of proteins that morph and change. And again, I don't know if they're on proteins on, like, again, on my matriculated credits of medical microbiology. Um, I don't know if it's the type that change polarity based on radio frequencies as you move through time and space based on whatever photon is going on a radio frequency. So it's just concerning to me, but more so in like the realm of a normal conversation. It's concerning that these proteins are sticking very hard to the surface of the glass. Now, I don't know, like, I mean, in crazy conspiracy theories, I've heard people say, oh, they're changing the chemical contents with GMOs and also chemicals and stuff for the body, so the body starts to break down, so then they can sell you the remedy and the cure, and that's part of the bread and circus around here. So, like, again, I'm not getting into the minutia of it. I'm just saying that I'm really concerned about the quality of the milk, that it's starting to smell like burnt plastic and it's starting to stick to the side of the cup. Um, and my parents have physiological changes, as do I at the moment. Um, and again, I don't have context that I would know where to even call that into as a concern. um and there's also this like increase in weight, and even though like I've been fasting and doing shakes, a liquid diet only, and increasing my activity now that I can walk, um even when I was running like 8 to 10 miles a day, I wasn't losing or burning and losing the fat while staying in this area. So again, there's that metabolic, there's that electrolyte, and there's that chemical component to it where I don't know what's coming in the food. I don't know who's, but when I see, I like, am I being represented in this area? I have concerns for sure. But where to submit those, I don't know at this point. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. And there is some component when I look at the sun like this of like Department of Energy, is like but then that's DOE, is that Department of Energy, is that Department of Education, like they put up DOB the other day. I'm like, that's date of birth as far as I know. But like, again, I had an office job. So, yeah. So I don't even know, like, they used to say, like, run it up the flagpole. There's the flag. I don't know. I don't know how to participate. I don't.